Welcome back for another episode of 10-Minute Drawing Techniques. This is episode 8 on halfway points. This episode covers a neat little technique I just figured out recently. I might have shown you a fragment of this earlier on, but I've managed to expand this a little further into my drawing technique, and now it's become very essential to working in 3 dimensions. I showed you earlier how you could use point-to-point to figure out how to draw straight lines and be able to control, how these straight lines appear. But the other thing I mentioned was that if you figure out where the halfway point on the line is, I put a halfway point there, then you can sort of figure out how to make lines come into and out of space. You can make lines come towards the camera or away from the camera. You see, by putting a halfway point in the dead center of it, basically this line is flat against the screen. But if I put this point all the way over here, that's the halfway point of the line. Now this line appears to come out towards us, towards the camera. And if I wanted to, I can instead of turn this from a line into, let's say, like a flat, ruler-shaped plane. And then just cross contour at the halfway point. That really starts to come out towards us. But to work it effectively, I can just go point to point, figure out, okay, there's a halfway point there. Figure out, oh, there's point to point. Oops, my pen's gone all blobby. Do another half. There's the halfway point there again, and you can tell right away that this is far, that gets near, that gets far, just by how you space the halfway points. Like if I was to turn this into an arm, I can figure, well, let's do this, draw the cylindrical form. Very basic arm. I'm not going to bother with muscles or anything like that. And put the cross contours right at where the halfway point belongs. And that's a quick way to get foreshortening into your drawing, just by figuring out where the halfway points are. Same thing with legs. I can put a point there, put another point there. Okay. Just by putting the halfway point here, I can really, really work foreshortening. Same thing, figure out where the halfway point is. Okay, so this is a really good way to get a feeling of depth. And you might wind up having to adjust that halfway point a bit, but you can see how much it helps. Your halfway points will probably move about when you start turning these stick lines into actual volumes and shapes. Let me just shade that flat stub. Shade that. Okay. So that's a great little trick you can use now. If you wanted to work it with say cubes, you can do point to point again. Figure out, I guess the halfway point's roughly about there. How do I want this plane to rotate? I guess I'll put a point about there. Halfway point's about just eyeballing things. Where should that far corner belong? Roughly there. Same thing, figure out where the halfway points are. Well, looks like I have to adjust my halfway points. Oh, that's the 5-minute mark. Okay, same thing. Let's make that. How do I deal with the distant corner? Well, I guess a halfway point. Just eyeballing things, you know, really use your eyes as best you can. I guess a halfway point's about there. Halfway point, about there. And far corner. Again, I'm having to eyeball this. Just guesstimating. It's probably about there. I figure out the halfway points there and there. Okay. Nice, quick, easy way to get depth. With just lines, you know, you can probably do a whole stick figure, I guess. Let's try this. Halfway point there. Figure out, okay, that's where his head would be. This would be the torso. I'm just using stick for the torso. I'm not even bothering using any volumes. Halfway point about there. Oh, actually, you know what? Now I can. That center line becomes a halfway. You know. Hell, we can probably just turn this into a full-fledged torso now. The lines are all at the halfway point. There's there. Halfway point's about there. You know. That's what I want to do. Put that point there, there. There's the halfway point. Now I can connect that line. You know. Another halfway point there, halfway point there. You know, there's a really quick way to get that torso going. Okay, let's see. Shoulder joints. We got 2 minutes left. Well, let's see. Figure out quickly. Okay. One of the legs, halfway point would be up here to make that come into the camera. You know, make that go straight down. Halfway point to make it go further ahead, so make it fall away from the camera, so we're looking down. Same deal. This time I'll put the halfway point dead center to make that flat against the camera plane. Put the halfway point further away. Halfway point roughly dead center to make that flat with the camera. Halfway point slightly further down to make that point away from the camera. Halfway point roughly flat on to make it flat with the camera. Figure out, okay, that's the halfway point for the hand, point to point. Put that point down there, halfway point's way down there. You know, so this is a really powerful technique. Gets you thinking in 3 dimensions. Let's round that out. How much time we got left? We got about a minute left. A little over a minute. Now, let's see. Maybe I can fix up this leg. This leg ain't looking so good. There, halfway point's down there. Maybe I can have him sitting on something, you know. 50 seconds left, so I gotta hurry. Halfway point about there, 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 there. Halfway point about there. So you guys get the idea? Alright, so that's halfway point. It's got about 19 seconds to go, so see you next time. We'll show you more stuff later. Take care. Bye.